The last 18 to 19 hours have been among the most dramatic as far as India's diplomacy are concerned. But let me take you through how it all started and where we've ended up. It's a familiar tale that may dismay you, but that's what Indian politics is really all about. It started with Trump claiming that he'd been invited by Prime Minister Modi to mediate in the Kashmir issue. Well, India trumped Donald's falsehoods immediately. What Trump's careless claim has done is get completely smashed by the Indian government. It happened late last night in a very dramatic sequence of events. Basically, the Indian government has shut Trump down. Trump is the big talker. Well, he's been silenced by the Modi government. But the opposition has seen an opportunity here. The opposition has seen an opportunity to hit Modi, to embarrass Modi, to slam Modi. The Congress is using Trump's claim to try and erode at Modi's stature. And despite the denial, even Rahul Gandhi, we don't know if he's the president still of the Congress party, and he's sitting in the United States, mind you, while Parliament is in session and Karnataka is in a crisis. Rahul Gandhi is sitting in the United States, and from there he is tweeting, saying that the Prime Minister of India should rise in Parliament and give a statement, and nobody's going to be happy with a quote-unquote weak foreign ministry statement. So Prime Minister Modi, through the Indian External Affairs Ministry, has totally rebutted, countered and smashed what President Donald Trump claimed yesterday in a very dramatic flourish. But Rahul Gandhi, Mehbooba Mufti, Omar Abdullah, Farooq Abdullah, Anand Sharma, several opposition members have jumped. They've made the huge leap of faith onto Donald Trump's shoulders, and they're using his totally unreliable and discredited claim as ammunition to target the Indian Prime Minister in a sensitive issue where the world is watching. That's what the opposition has been reduced to, even post the embarrassing, humiliating defeat of 2019. Well, as with everything these days in India, national security, international diplomacy, India's stand on the world stage, all of it is fair game for our politicians, because a massive political war has erupted after Donald Trump's Kashmir bluff. It was called out very quickly, as you saw last night. Despite External Affairs Minister S. Jayashankar, he's not a politician, he's a minister, categorically rejecting Trump's claim and making it clear on the Indian government's behalf that Prime Minister Modi never made any mediation request, the opposition, Rahul Gandhi, Farooq Abdullah, Mehbooba Mufti, all of the other great constellation of the opposition, is adamant on Prime Minister Modi's clarification in Parliament. They have somehow just dismissed the fact that the External Affairs Ministry happens to be part of the government. Meanwhile, the Kashmir parties, both the National Conference and the PDP, have welcomed the mediation offer by Trump, if you can believe it. Take a look at this report.
अमेरिकन प्रेसिडेंट के सामने सर झुका दिया। हम सबके लिए शर्मिंदा की बात है। भारत की अखंडता, भारत की प्रभुसत्ता के ऊपर एक बहुत बड़ा आघात है।
No such request has been made by the Prime Minister to the
U.S. President Donald Trump's off-the-cuff remark about Prime Minister Narendra Modi seeking mediation on Kashmir has stirred a hornet's nest in India.
I was with Prime Minister Modi 2 weeks ago, and we talked about this subject. And he actually said, "Would you like to be a mediator or arbitrator?" I think they'd like to see it resolved, and I think you'd like to see it resolved. And if I can help, I would love to be a mediator.
तो राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप क्या कहते हैं?
The opposition, led by the Congress party, attacked the Modi government in both houses of parliament, demanding a statement from the Prime Minister himself.
प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी का उत्तरदायित्व बनता है, उनका कर्तव्य बनता है कि दोनों सदनों में आकर वो इस बात का स्पष्टीकरण करे कि क्या ये बातचीत उन दोनों में हुई थी या नहीं हुई थी।
विदेश मंत्री ने उस पर बहुत स्पष्ट और बहुत साफ तरीके से भारत की स्थिति को स्पष्ट किया और साफ तौर से कहा कि किसी भी रूप में, किसी भी हाल में तीसरे पक्ष की मध्यस्थता भारत को स्वीकार नहीं है। उसके बावजूद भी प्रधानमंत्री जवाब दें, प्रधानमंत्री सवाल करें, प्रधानमंत्री जवाब दें, ये शुद्ध रूप से अहंकार है।
categorically
External Affairs Minister S. Jayashankar clarified the government's position in both houses of parliament, insisting India had never sought any mediation from the U.S. on Kashmir.
I would like to categorically assure the House that no such request has been made by the Prime Minister to the US. It has been India's consistent position that all outstanding issues with Pakistan are discussed only bilaterally. I would further underline that any engagement with Pakistan would require an end to cross-border terrorism.
But that did not deter the opposition that insisted on a clarification from the Prime Minister, claiming since the U.S. President had talked of a one-on-one interaction with PM Modi in Osaka, Japan 2 weeks ago, the Prime Minister must clear the air in both houses of Parliament.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की ये जिम्मेदारी बनती है कि वो सदन को अवगत कराएं कि ये झूठ है। ये तो बहुत बड़ा सीरियस डिपार्चर है हमारी फॉरेन पॉलिसी की। हमारी फॉरेन पॉलिसी तो आज तक यही रही है कि कोई भी तीसरा देश हस्तक्षेप नहीं कर सकता हम दोनों देशों के बीच में। हम दोनों मिलकर इसको सुलझाएंगे।
The way Congress and some opposition parties have protested in the House just to demand that Prime Minister must be present, which America itself has denied, which our Foreign Minister has stoutly denied and made it official, still to continue with sloganeering this kind of attitude is completely condemnable.
Congress Party President Rahul Gandhi too tweeted, seeking a clarification from the PM and not what he termed was a feeble response from the Ministry of External Affairs. Though the government has clarified its stance and the US State Department too tweeted a clarification, conceding J&K was a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan, but the politics on the issue has only escalated. With Geeta Mohan, Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, while national outrage has erupted over Donald Trump's lie on this Kashmir mediation nonsense that he claimed on camera yesterday, more evidence has surfaced confirming that the U.S. President's statement was nothing but a lie, totally dishonest with no basis in the truth. Sources tell India Today that both India and the United States and officials on both sides have said that there was no mention of Jammu and Kashmir during the bilateral meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Trump on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Japan's Osaka 2 weeks ago. That's the meeting that Trump was talking about. In fact, even Ivanka Trump did not mention Kashmir during her briefing after Modi and Trump's meeting. The minutes of those meetings also, both official and unofficial, nowhere mentioned Kashmir even came up. Later, the US State Department too stated that Jammu and Kashmir is a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan, but efforts for a dialogue will be welcomed. The US State Department said that Pakistan needed to act against terror. No mention of Kashmir anywhere when Modi and Trump met 2 weeks ago, officially and unofficially.
We are here at the G20 in Osaka, and the Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Abe just concluded a meeting with the President talking about 5G technology, particularly with a focus on its security implications. Really important meeting, and lay the foundation for a subsequent productive conversation, a one-on-one meeting between the President and Prime Minister Modi, where the same issues were covered, of course 5G, as well as the trade relationship between the United States and India, a critical trading partner and a critical security partner and a critical ally. So it was a productive discussion. Everything from Iran to national security was covered by the President and the US delegation with their Indian counterparts. And it's been a productive morning, to say the least.
The fact is there has been a categorical denial and a rebuttal by the Indian government, by the External Affairs Minister in Parliament, a full statement, a State Department statement, and evidence from both sides that this claim made by the President of the United States is hogwash. Nothing like that ever happened. It's categorical. Here are the questions that we're asking right now. And listen to these questions very carefully because they're important. After the government's categorical snub to Trump, does the Prime Minister need to clarify too? It's not a loaded question. Think about it. Do you think the Prime Minister also needs to get up and clarify personally in Parliament, as many opposition leaders are demanding? Is the opposition's demand for the Prime Minister's comment legitimate, or is it simply based on ego because they see this as an opportunity to embarrass Prime Minister Modi? Is Trump's false claim plain anti-Modi ammunition for the opposition? And finally, is the opposition eroding India's stand on a very sensitive diplomatic international issue with this ego-driven bickering, point scoring? Even Rahul Gandhi, sitting in the United States, nobody knows what he's doing in the United States, whether on vacation or not. He's completely well within his rights to be there. But from the United States, Rahul Gandhi, of course, is giving gyan, saying we don't want weak foreign ministry rebuttals. We want the Prime Minister to stand up. So Rahul Gandhi, who couldn't be bothered to be in India when Parliament is in session, couldn't be bothered to be in India when Karnataka's crisis is taking place, is busy giving gyan even after the External Affairs Ministry has on the record made a categorical rebuttal of what the President of the United States has said. Joining me live now on those big questions we're asking, Gaurav Sawant, Executive Editor, Tuhin Sinha, spokesperson of the BJP, Rana Ayub is a senior award-winning journalist. I want to start this off with you, Gaurav, because we are never too far away from opposition politics. You know, that in a democracy, questions, bickering are always going to be welcome. But the question is, from Rahul Gandhi giving gyan in the United States, and he doesn't want anybody to know that he's in the United States, to Farooq Abdullah, to Mehbooba Mufti, to Omar Abdullah, to Anand Sharma, to all of these people, is this just plain ego now? I mean, Jayashankar, the External Affairs Minister, stood in Parliament, made a statement after the categorical statement that was made yesterday. Is this just plain ego now?
This does appear to be, because Donald Trump has given the opposition a stick to beat Prime Minister Narendra Modi with. It's not as much the government as it is Prime Minister Narendra Modi personally.
Yeah.
Donald Trump mentioned that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and he interacted 2 weeks ago, which means they were in Osaka 2 weeks ago. This was on the sidelines of the G20. And then he said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi asked him to mediate. And this was a shocker. Shiv, you and I were live when all of this was happening, when Trump's press conference was coming in last night. And this was a shocker because this is such a departure from India's stated position that it sounds ridiculous that anybody would have said that. That's why the opposition is saying, we do not want a clarification just from the spokesperson of the External Affairs Ministry or from, S. Jayashankar, the External Affairs Minister. But since Trump has named PM Modi, the clarification needs to come from PM Modi. And that, in a way, many could argue, is cutting your nose to spite your face, because he's not he's everybody's Prime Minister.
Yes,
so why
yes.
would you want your Prime Minister to come and clarify something when the External Affairs Minister has already done so?
And exactly. I mean, this is not, a tutu meme. This is not a Congress versus BJP kind of issue. This is an international diplomatic issue where the world is watching. I'm going to go to Rana Ayub in just a moment. There was a problem with that connection. But, Tuhin, frankly, I'm not surprised, but I am a little disgusted by the manner in which, the government has been put on the opposition has tried to attack the government on this issue. When professionally speaking, we saw a statement yesterday from the External Affairs Ministry. We saw Mr. Jayashankar get up in the Parliament today. What more does the opposition want? It's ego, it's personal here. It's nothing else.
Connect immediately. Phone cut gaya. Can you just ask them to connect immediately?
Okay, I think that line with Tuhin is failing. We'll try and re-establish that line. Gaurav, let me bring you back in here, because, many of these opposition leaders are, trying to okay, we have Rana Ayub back at the line. I want to ask our producers to try and maintain all those lines so we can get our guests to listen to each other. Otherwise, it's not going to be a possible, a coherent discussion. Okay. Rana, welcome. I hope you can hear me. I just wanted to say that yesterday, right after the External Affairs Ministry had put out its statement, you in a tweet had said, this is quite a situation, but then we are talking about Trump and Modi. I just want to say, was the statement that the External Affairs Ministry made yesterday, followed by Minister Jayashankar's statement in Parliament today, is that not enough to settle what Trump had claimed yesterday?
Well, Shiv, whatever Donald Trump has said in his interaction, with Imran Khan and addressing the press, seems to be one of those Trumpisms which mostly do not have any, any basis in reality. But once the dust settles over this issue, perhaps Mr. Modi and his foreign advisors could put their heads together and understand why they have put all their eggs in the US basket. I mean, we have alienated most of our relationship with whether it is Russia or whether it is Tehran.
But that's not true, Rana.
Do we really? I mean, and we make such a hue and cry. I mean, we make such a. I mean, no. When Mr. Modi and Trump, hug each other, it makes headlines all over Indian news channels that we are. We are miles ahead in terms of diplomacy. Never before has India-US relationship been glorious. So when something like this happens, and this is a very serious statement made by Donald Trump, we do understand from the face of it that it might not have any basis in reality.
Okay.
There might have been some a miscalculation or a confusion in what Mr. Modi would have said or what Mr. Donald Trump would have understood.
But Kashmir didn't even come up in the conversation according to officials on both sides.
I think it is.
Kashmir didn't even come up in the conversation, so it's not even a misinterpretation. This is just a figment of Trump's imagination. Okay, I just, since Rana said that India is putting all its eggs in one basket, that could not be more patently false at this point of time, Gaurav. And you can, take on that point as well, because right now India has actually risked a lot of its diplomatic capital by going ahead with things like the S-400 deal with Russia. It has invested a great deal in that age-old relationship with Russia. By far, India is not putting all its eggs in the US basket.
It is not. It is not. India's very evenly invested in a multipolar world, and that's something that the Ministry of External Affairs is at pains to explain. Yes, India has a very warm relationship, a strategic relationship with the United States of America. It has an equally strong, if not stronger, strategic relationship with Russia. And that is where they're evenly balanced. And it's not restricted, as you very rightly pointed out, to the S-400s. America doesn't want us to buy S-400s. We are buying the S-400s. America's not happy about it. We are invested with Iran. India is looking after India's national interest, not after American national interest, not after Russian national interest, but our national interest. We are also equally invested with China, and we are not letting America use us as a counterbalance to China, or China use us as a counterbalance to America. So, the government is looking after India's national interest wherever it's best served. That's point one. Point two, as you very rightly pointed out, Shiv, both government of India and the government of United States, through sources, are saying Kashmir did not even come up during in Osaka conversation. There was Iran. You heard Ivanka Trump just a short while back. There was Iran, there was trade, there was Huawei, there were so many other issues. Kashmir didn't come up. This is perhaps one of those Trumpisms which Donald Trump just said, not realizing it's going to backfire in such a big way on India-US relations.
For us here in India, the bigger picture certainly is going to be about Trump talking certainly not from his mouth, but as far as the claim that he made yesterday, India has settled that with a categorical rebuttal and a categorical counter to that, both in the form of a statement as well as the minister in parliament. But to him, this is personal. To him, this has nothing to do with international diplomacy. From Rahul Gandhi to Mehbooba to Farooq to the others, this is about somehow trying to embarrass and injure Prime Minister Modi as the individual. This has nothing to do with the government. So, to hell with India's image.
So Shiv, first of all, I don't think the opposition of this country has learned any lesson after the humiliating defeat 2 months ago. Secondly, they seem to be suffering from some form of low self-esteem because, they tend to trust a foreign president or a foreign leader more than the Indian version of the story. So especially after the US administration itself has disowned Donald Trump's comments, and especially after the clarification by External Affairs Minister Mr. Jayashankar in Parliament, I think the opposition of this country needs to focus on more important things. But like you said, Rahul Gandhi sitting in the US when he should be in Parliament has all the time to give gyan. So it really reflects very poorly on the opposition. In fact, the opposition leaders should spend some time with a responsible person like Mr. Shashi Tharoor, who has been very forthright this time. For a change, he has actually, having been an external affairs minister or minister of state for external affairs in the past, he has actually, he actually knows what he's talking. India's position has been consistent for the last 70 years. The only time India encouraged foreign intervention was unfortunately under Nehru in 1948 when he abruptly referred the whole Kashmir dispute to the United Nations Security Council. And of course, there have been other times like Sharm el-Sheikh where the Congress has really embarrassed the country by actually legitimizing fake allegations of Pakistan of our involvement in Balochistan. But other than that, the BJP stand on Kashmir has been crystal clear, and I don't think the Prime Minister really needs to
I want to bring Rana. I want to bring Rana back in. Rana, do you think the opposition wanting to question the government? Nobody can have any kind of problem with that. That has to happen. The government should be questioned at every step. My question is, after a categorical denial, do you think the opposition is being fueled by ego and they're just eager to take Trump at face value in an effort to simply embarrass the individual Modi? This has nothing to do with the government. Is that what's going on here? Because that's what it smells like.
Shiv, this is all about politics, and let's not be naive enough to believe that if the Congress was in power and something like this had happened with Manmohan Singh and Donald Trump making a statement like this, the BJP would not have up the ante and asked for a statement from Manmohan Singh. This is how politics works. I mean, Manmohan Singh would have been hauled over the coals if Donald Trump had made a similar statement. So I think this is the opposition is doing what you expect it to do. I mean, you don't expect it to sing glory of Narendra Modi. Having said that, I'll reiterate that we do not need to make much. We need to stop hyping our, the visuals that we see between Modi and Trump, that, we have a great relationship with the United States. We need to see things as they are. Mr. Modi has got a warning sign very early in his second term about the way Trumpism operates. So he has to be very careful in the way he moves forward vis-a-vis foreign policy, and United States, because Trump has not been one of the best mediators when it comes to brokering peace in the Middle East or between Palestine and Israel. So we really need to be very, very careful of our attitude towards America and our foreign policy in the way we take things forward in the next 5 years.
Tuhin, the important point that Rana makes, which I'm going to raise with Gaurav also, but I want to ask you about this. Rana says the opposition is going to ask for it. And she's right. I agree with her when she says that, had this been Manmohan Singh, the BJP would have filled the streets asking for a statement or a resignation, etc. So ultimately, why does the BJP have so much of a problem with all of these netas asking for the Prime Minister's statement? That's what they're going to do. That's what the opposition is going to do.
Well, we've known how the Congress has compromised India's position at Sharm el-Sheikh. We have known every time there used to be a terror attack, the Congress would run to US to complain before actually initiating action against Pakistan. So there is a difference between the Congress and BJP rule. I think the BJP has been extremely consistent insofar as the US policy is concerned, or the Kashmir policy is concerned, and the very fact that the US administration contradicted its own president within a couple of hours shows India's hold over foreign policy. So I think to criticize the Indian External Affairs Ministry of Foreign Policy
Gaurav, 30 seconds,
is absurd.
And I want to give you the last word,
clout, which is that
this is not just about the politics, because the issue at hand is too sensitive. So every time the opposition members try and score brownie points against Modi, we have to remember that this is the world stage on India's most sensitive issue.
And one must not cut your nose to spite your face. I mean, that's something you have to be very clear about. Mehbooba Mufti and Farooq Abdullah welcoming talks of mediation to take Kashmir forward, that's actually very disappointing. Because Mehbooba Mufti and Farooq Abdullah know better that India-Pakistan talks are not moving forward for the simple reason Pakistan is refusing to take action against India-centric terror. Pakistan hasn't taken action against Hafiz Saeed, Masood Azhar. It hasn't dismantled the terror infrastructure. That's the reason talks are not moving forward, not because India doesn't have the will to move forward on any issue. And anyway, what's talks on Kashmir all about except Pakistan occupied Kashmir? So facts need to be put on the table before we move forward on issues as sensitive as Jammu and Kashmir.
Well, the Trump quake is certainly not going to subside anytime soon, with Parliament still being in session. Sonia Gandhi has said that she's going to raise it in both houses of Parliament. Don't expect it to go away anytime soon. Rana, Tuhin, Gaurav, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.